And good afternoon, everybody. I think we are now live. I just wanted to go out live on Instagram, actually. It is exactly 2 o'clock. It's Friday the 13th of June. We're not superstitious, though. Friday the 13th can be an incredibly good day. If you don't know me, my name is Ross. I run actonthis.tv. If you are an actor, you want to basically learn how to push your acting career forward faster, work in TV, and actually earn money, come over to actonthis.tv after this. And today, I'm joined by an incredibly special guest, Oscar-winning director and CEO of Slick Films, Mr. Chris Overton. Chris, welcome to the broadcast, mate. How are you?
I'm very good. Thanks for having me. You just bring so much energy, Ross. I just, been Friday. I'm worn out. I don't know how you do that.
I'm used to it. I'm just used to it. I'm just seeing why I'm not live on Instagram. I'm hoping. Give us some comments if you're watching on YouTube. Drop us some comments through. If you're watching on LinkedIn, if you're watching on X, it's showing that I'm live on over those platforms. It does say that I'm live on Instagram as well, though, but I can't see any. I can't see any comments coming in from Instagram, and it's not giving me the go live button. I'm just going to refresh, and then we'll get stuck in, Chris. Today, folks, we're basically here to potentially just give you some money. We're just giving loads of money away to help you ultimately get your incredible film idea. Make it a reality. We've got some different funds up for grabs, 3K, 10K. Chris is here to tell us all about it. But before we dive in, Chris, there'll be people here who might have just tuned in for the first time. They might not have seen Act On This. They might not have seen you, although we've done lots of live broadcasts together before. Give us sort of like the 3-minute kind of this is your life, mate, on how you turned from actor to Oscar-winning director to now CEO of Slick Films.
Okay, well, yes, I did start acting when I was about 8 years old, and then for a school project, I started editing. That was really what made me fall in love with filmmaking. And I lied to my mom and I said, "Oh, the school says that we have to have a video camera." And she's like, "I can't bloody afford that. We're sending you to this bloody school." And anyway, for my birthday was coming up, so we kind of made a deal. I got this video camera, and then I started to make films, and I made this film about bullying, and it was called Get Back. And I rounded up all the kids in my neighbourhood. I shot the film, I edited it, I distributed it. I even robbed some of my mum's plastic DVD cases, took the sleeves out, printed some artwork, and I had this batch of DVDs. And yes. I went round our neighbourhood and I knocked on people's doors and I said, "Look, this is a really important film about bullying." About 12 years old at this point. And I said, "Look, buy a copy, it's £2 each." And I had this stack of DVDs, and I sold out. I sold all my DVDs, and I made a profit. And I made about £11 or something like that, which is more than some feature films make.
That's the result. Yes.
And then, that was kind of my introduction to cinema. And then I met Rachel Shenton, who had this idea for a film called The Silent Child. And then I wasn't really a director at that point. I was still very much an actor who had I set up this business to support actors. I had Slick Show Reels, which is still going strong today. It's over in New York and here in London, and now we're setting up in the West Midlands. And very much. I just saw this script that Rachel. She said she had this idea, and I was like, "Oh my God, you've got to write it. It sounds incredible." She wrote it. It was amazing, and then I kind of felt like that's the moment I became a director, because like Martin Scorsese says, there's people that say I want to be a filmmaker, and there's people that say that I want to tell a specific story, and I feel like that's the camp I fell into with The Silent Child. I was like, I've got to make this. It's not like I wanted to become a director. I was like, no, I've got to make this film. And then the film went on and had this incredible journey. It won an Oscar. It then beyond that, it was kind of a catalyst to get GCSE into British Sign Language. It was in schools around the world. Went to the United Nations conference and Parliament.
It was in Parliament. I remember. Yeah,
did so many amazing things, and then I got the filmmaking bug, and was very passionate to try and help other filmmakers after having that very unique experience, to try and help them tell their stories and bring them under the banner of Slick Films. And that's what the company is all about, trying to shine a light on important issues that can also entertain at the same time. Yeah, so that's me in a nutshell. Yeah.
It's very articulate. That's what I like about Chris. Normally, I'm like, give us a 3 minutes. Guests are like 20 minutes later going, right, sorry, I'm waffling. I love it. And what I love about Slick Films, though, and The Silent Child and the whole journey behind it is just how kind of grassroots the whole thing was. I think there's a lot of people watching this, and just let me know if you're on YouTube. I don't think we're going live on Instagram today, folks. It's just not working, but we're live on YouTube, we're live on X, and we're live on LinkedIn as well. If you want to come over and get involved in the conversation, though, come over to youtube.com/Act On This TV. If you're watching anywhere else, I can bring your comments up on screen. But let us know if you are here, like if you've maybe had an idea for a script, you've got an idea for a film, but you've been overwhelmed by kind of going, there's too many steps in this journey, I can't see them all, I'm scared, so therefore I won't take any of them. What I loved about what you were doing with The Silent Child is none of you knew it was going to go on to win an Oscar. It was something that was just very dear to your heart story-wise. And you were like, we're just going to take it one step at a time. And I remember sort of like seeing how you were even raising money for it. And I think, wasn't your mum baking cakes and stuff to like raise? I mean, it couldn't have been more grassroots. Yeah. Kind of like, let's just get it made. No expectations. We're not doing it because we want to win an Oscar. We're doing it because of the love and the passion for it. And I think that's why it was so successful, mate.
Yeah, the truth is we didn't even know you could win an Oscar for a short film. Like, genuinely, it was only until we were on set, and then our cinematographer Ali Farahani, who's a real genius. He kind of had these broken glasses on. He said, "I'm taking these to the Oscars," and everybody laughed. But he was deadly serious, and that's kind of how we found out. Like, people were saying, this is very special. Like, this has a lot of authenticity behind it, and I think it was the message. And it was the authenticity behind the lead character, Libby, who was played by Maisie Sly, who's a profoundly deaf actress. It wasn't, it probably wasn't the best film ever made, like, of that year even. It was what it was trying to say and what the message behind it was. And I think that, and so many people resonated with this little deaf girl that was kind of the voice for many all over the world. I think that's what made it win an Oscar. That's what people got on board with.
Yeah. And if you've not seen it, you've got to look it up, guys. Silent Child, honestly, absolutely superb. And so let us know if you have got some ideas for films. I can see Brenda says there, I've got a rough draft for an amazing period piece. Di has said there, I've got a rough draft for a piece too. My current log line is Calendar Girls meets Ocean's 11. Interested, Di? Someone here says, I've got lots of ideas, some horror, some more commercial, some historical. Andrea says, I've written a short film ready to go with an important message, an awareness film. This is so perfect for me right now. Excited listening. Thank you. So there's lots of people here with ideas, Chris. We're going to dive into this fund and what's available to help people turn those scripts into reality. First of all, like, before we dive into it, I'll even bring the Slick Films Fund website up. But like, what is the Slick Films Fund? Why did you launch it? And it's not just a grant. A lot of people just give money. This is like mentorship and production support involved as well, right?
Yeah, I think, look, there is a bit of a funding crisis at the moment. There are so many talented filmmakers with so many great ideas, but nobody can get their films funded. And I feel sorry for, like, how overwhelmed the funding bodies in this country must be. There's only so much they can do to help. And it was amazing seeing, I did like a BFI workshop in Bristol, and I thought there might be a bit of competitiveness about the BFI fund and the Slick Fund. They were like, no, thank God you're doing a fund. Thank God others are, making a fund, because the pressure is so much on them, on the BFI. So we're just doing our bit. That's literally it. We want to help. We want to contribute. We've had a unique journey. We feel like we can pass on some knowledge, and we want to, as we grow and do feature films, we always want to continue to do short films, because they are the gateway. They were for myself. They were for Rachel and so many other filmmakers. So the reason we did it was to help, to do our bit, and to give back a little bit into an industry, a section of the industry that's been so good to us.
There's loads of great ideas. I'm just pointing some of the comments up from YouTube. So Jess says, I'm 17 years old, currently writing a film about the current problem of teenage substance abuse. Really need help. What's Rob said here? I've written a short film about male mental health. I think everybody has got great ideas, and I think they're just afraid, mate, to take the first leap, or they do, or funding is the biggest thing, where they go, well, you know what, no matter what idea I've got, I can't afford to do it properly, thus, there's no point at all. Or they'll think, oh, I'm just not experienced. This isn't for me. I don't have all the credentials. And we want to emphasise this, this fund, it's for actors, writers, like even first timers. Can you break down exactly who the fund's for?
Yeah, absolutely. So we wanted to cater for everyone. So there's we Slick Films are kind of known for supporting first-time filmmakers. So that was really important that we keep that going. So there's a special section of the fund specifically for first-time filmmakers, and we give loads of support, mentorship, and other prizes along the way. Don't ask me to list them all, Ross, right now. But we give a small grant as well of £3,000. But also they can also apply for the main fund too, and lots of people are doing that. When we're looking at the many submissions that we're getting at the moment, a lot of people are going for both. The first-time filmmaker category is definitely less competitive, so if it's your first thing, I would consider that. But yeah, it is for anybody. That main fund is for people out there. It's for anybody, but also we want to kind of aim that as well towards anyone that's made a film. Steven Spielberg could apply for the main fund. Not that he will.
He's watching this, to be honest. Stephen, thanks ever so much for watching. I know you tune in every Friday, so thanks, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, but we get seasoned filmmakers. But really, it's the ideas, really. I feel like there's a misconception with, filmmaking, that you have to be a really professional writer, and actually it's not that. It's what's hard now is to find an original idea, because so many things have been done. That theme's been done, that story's been told, but just in a different way. But it's getting harder and harder to find original stories. So that's what we're looking for, because we can help craft something. If we see an original idea that needs a bit of polishing, that's exactly what we're here for. We're here to nurture. We're here to, shape and mould.
Yeah. So ultimately, folks, if you're watching this, right, so someone's here and they've never made a film, Chris, but they've got like a killer short script. They're in with a shot of this, either the £3,000 first-time filmmaker or the grand prize of the 10K, if they want to enter into that as well. Like, it doesn't matter what experience people have got. If they've got a cracking idea, a killer, script, they're in with a shot. Yeah, I just want to get people over like limiting beliefs of like why they couldn't maybe apply it to something like this.
No, they definitely could. I think going right back to the very beginning, there might be some people on here that have a really good idea, but just don't know where to start. How on earth do you begin writing a script? Well, anybody can do it, they really can. And I think that's where Rachel's really inspiring as well. She's dyslexic, and right from the beginning, from her to see her scripts, when the first one she wrote up until now, like, it's really important to know that, Mozart didn't start playing these amazing pieces when he first started. It really is a journey. Writing is. It's just important to get going, and just start somewhere. So I think that's the most important thing. Even just entering this fund might be the beginning of your screenwriting journey or your filmmaking journey. But just get going, especially if you're an actor. Like, I'm a big advocate for just trying to give actors the power back, and put the power back in their own hands, because it is frustrating. That's why Act On This is so bloody good, because there's a community, there's a space where people can come and just not feel like they're alone. Because I've had tears when I was an actor. Like, I would cry regularly because it meant so much to me, but I was so frustrated. I was just like, we love what we do so much, and it's the same for filmmaking. But there'd be many an evening I'd sob myself to sleep because I'm just like, what can I do? I can update my headshot, I can update my showreel, I can do this, I can try and change agents. But after that, there's not much else except for filmmaking. Actors like Rachel, I keep going back to Rachel, but she's so inspiring that she was an actress. Nobody would touch Rach, because she was in Hollyoaks, and she was kind of branded as a soap star for a bit, and she completely reshaped herself. She went over to America, and then she was like, you know what, sod it, I'm going to give myself a job. She wrote that film, and she gave herself the lead role, and it went on to win an Oscar. And all right, not everybody who does that will go and win an Oscar, but they will give themselves a credit, they will give themselves a job, they will give themselves a bit of power, and hopefully they'll stop themselves from going bloody mad.
empowerment, going, hang on a minute, I'm more in control of my life and career than I actually have ever given myself credit for. And it's not waiting for permission to create, folks. That's what Chris and this fund is trying to do. It's like, it's not like, you have to be totally pro, have a million spec scripts under your belt or anything like that. This is literally for people who, you've just got a great idea, you've got a script, and you're like, right, I need mentorship and support to actually, have it made. So I'm going to go over to the website, Chris. So if people want to, I'll give the website address away, but if you just ultimately Google Slick Films Fund 2025, you'll find it will be the first thing that comes up on Google, folks, and you'll see this page here. Hopefully you guys have got that. That's showing. And this will give you all of the all of the information on it in association with Bolton Film Festival, Oscar-winning Slick Films. £10,000 film fund in association with Bolton Film Festival is back for its second year. Just to spell this out for people, there's a grand prize of 10k, exclusive mentorship from Oscar-winning filmmakers, and an array of invaluable industry resources. The fund is designed to discover the next generation of talent. We'll go over last year's winner as well, but you've also had success. Ryan Can't Read was a great film starring James Nelson Joyce and Lewis Bray. You've had a lot of success with that. That was qualified for the Oscars very recently. What We Wished We Could Be reach in the final 16 at the Biffers, and then Rocket Fuel is last year's winner. We'll play a little bit of that out shortly, and we'll go over that. But then that's a 10k winners. Then there's a 3k award here for first-time filmmakers. It's a platform for writers of any experience level. Winners receive mentorship again from Chris, Rachel, PR strategy from London Flair. That's for like all of the film festival guide and stuff as well, from Festival Formula, distribution support. Through Network Island Television, a digital cinema package from Cinebox, featuring director's notes as well as VFX support from the Flying Colour Company. So it's not just like you're going to give people $3,000 and abandon them, Chris, for their first timers, mate.
No, absolutely not. I think we love to be involved as early as possible. A lot of people come to us and say, "Oh, we've shot our film, can you help?" And we're like, we could, but that just doesn't really speak to us as much as taking these ideas and turning them into beautiful movies right from the very start, and that's what this is about. And I think so. That's the only rule. Like if you've got a film that's in production already, you shouldn't apply. So it's for films that, if you're days away, like before the pitch at Bolton, that's also okay, as long as you haven't shot before that live pitch event on, I think it's Friday the 3rd of October, I think it is, or Friday the 4th. I can't remember the date exactly. There's lots of support. If you scroll down, Ross, you can kind of see like a little bit more. These are the deadlines. So it is 11 days is the next deadline, the final deadline, the 24th of June. So if you haven't written anything yet, don't worry. You can easily write a short film script in 11 days. Definitely, people do it in a day. It's more like before you start typing on cell text or whatever software you're using, I would just advise, if you haven't done anything yet, is to kind of do an outline of the story, like block it out scene by scene, and go from there. But there's you can buy fancy software like Final Draft, which is the industry standard for writing scripts, but the cell text kind of does exactly the same thing. There are lots of other ways to write scripts. You can do it online and do it for free.
Yeah, so ultimately, from time of recording, folks, you've got 11 days before the end of this. So, it's not a huge amount of time, but it's certainly doable. As Chris said there, if you've got a great idea for a script, you could probably knock the idea out in a day or so. What is required? So what is it that people are actually submitting? Because the people here going, do I need a finished script? How long does it have to be? Do I have to have like all of the outline for everything done, and what's actually sort of required, Chris, if people are going to submit?
All our rules and stuff like that are on the Film Freeway page, and it'll explain, and there's a Q&A, not a Q&A, frequently asked questions right at the bottom. But it's we take short film scripts. I think we've upped it to 25 pages this year. Last year it was shorter, but I think my personal preference is get your script under 20 pages. I think that makes for a good short film. But yeah, I think you can submit if you've got a script that's under 25 pages, and that's all you need. You know, when you need to probably make an account on Film Freeway, which is like Facebook but for film festivals and fund competitions and writing competitions. So highly recommend, if you're an actor or a filmmaker, just get an account anyway. There's so much fun scrolling through these types of events and seeing which ones you could even go to as an actor to do some networking.
Let me bring the Film Freeway page up here for people.
But that's all you need. You need the script. It will ask you a few more details, like it will ask you for an outline, a little bit about yourself as a writer, but that's it. I mean, some people put pitch decks together as well.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that. You know, it's nice if people do, but it's not the end of the world. If you've not written anything yet and you're staring at a blank page, just get the script together, I would say.
Yeah. So the minimum, if people are like, right, I've got this great idea, I know I can write a good script, that's ultimately enough, yeah? And under 25 pages, but you reckon under 20 if you can?
Yes, that's my personal preference. Others may say different, and I'm not the only judge. Ultimately, it's not down to me. I'm one of the judges that helps decide. But yeah, then there's it goes from like a long list to a short list to finalists to nominations, and then the nominees of the main fund appear at Bolton Film Festival and they pitch live to an audience, which is a bit scary, but we're going to give a lot more support. We've got Smash Media, My Smash Media, that are kind of helping to refine the pitches this year. They're another sponsor of ours that are going to help all the finalists craft their or give some good tips on how to pitch their projects. You only got 5 minutes. It was amazing last year though. Honestly, it was like it was like the X Factor. There was a bell and everything after 5 minutes. People were having to stop their pitches, but yeah, everyone did really well.
X Factor / Dragon's Den, get the money. That's great. So far for people, if you're catching up or you're just tuning in, right, basically 11 days time, you've got until the 24th of June. If you're an actor, a first time writer, doesn't matter, maybe you're a seasons writer or you are Steven Spielberg, doesn't matter. If you have an idea that you are like, look, I've had this idea in my head for ages, I really need support turning this into a film, I know it will be great, but I don't know where to start. Slick Films, Chris's company, are doing this Slick Films Fund. There's 2 prizes on offer, a 10k prize and a 3k prize. The 3k prize is really more aimed at the first time people, and it's less competitive because obviously there's less money up for grabs. Fewer people probably submit to the first time one, but you can submit to both. There's not just the money involved, there's a huge support package that you can read all about if you literally just Google Slick Films Fund 2025. This is the Film Freeway website that I'm on at the moment, showing you how where you submit basically, but you need a script. And that's it. You just need a script of under 20 pages. Well, under 25, but roughly around 20 pages. Chris thinks is the sweet spot, and that's where we're up to so far. If you if you are tuning in, what's the cost of people entering into the the fund and actually putting a submission together, Chris?
I think it was a little bit cheaper if you submitted earlier. So the cost is slightly higher. But if you're a student or if you have Film Freeway Gold, it's a little bit cheaper as well. But if you scroll down, all the prices are there. I think it's slightly cheaper as well for the first time filmmakers. If you go up a little bit, it's there. The categories and fees. If you click on main fund to the right of the screen.
Categories and fee. Oh yeah. There we are. So
if you open that,
yeah,
you can see it was a little bit cheaper than it is, but
so it's only £40. It's £40. That's it for the main one, and then for the
if
first
you're
time
a student as well, it's even cheaper.
Oh yeah, if 35 if you're a student. If you're a gold member, £40.50 on Film Freeway, and then the 3K one's cheaper. If you're a student, it's £25. Gold member, it's £31.50. If you're standard, it's just £35. But £35 if you've got a cracking idea for 3K and all of that support. It's an absolute bargain if you're going to back yourself. I think when coffee these days is £7, Chris. Just don't have coffee for a week.
Yeah, no, that's true.
My Starbucks is getting more and more expensive. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to dive into last year's fund, because this is the second year that you've done it.
Yeah.
I have got for bringing us back on camera. I've actually got a clip that I'm going to play out of last year's 2024 winner, basically. There was a film called Rocket Fuel. It was by a chap called Jordan Scott Kennedy. It's a sci-fi comedy set on a Bradford council estate, funded through the 2024 Slit Film Fund, selected after a live pitch at Bolton Film Festival, like you said. The film premiered on BBC Three. It's now streaming on iPlayer. You can go and watch the full thing on iPlayer. It's about 15 minutes long. What made Rocket Fuel stand out for you, Chris, before we play it? And why did Jordan win the pitch? What was his pitch like?
Well, I loved it. I think it just reminded me of my own childhood, and a time where there weren't mobile phones. Although it's set in today's era, it just felt like a bit of a throwback to like 90s kids. So that's personally why I liked it. And it's very working class. We support working class talent very much so. But it just felt like it just felt so beautiful because it reminds us we've all been kids at one point, and imagination is so beautiful, and these kids imagine, if you go and watch the film, you can watch it on BBC Three or BBC iPlayer, and it's also on YouTube as well. But they just bring this car to life, this abandoned car, and they go to the moon. They use their imaginations to do that, and I think it's so beautiful. And the reason Jordan completely won over the crowd, he was very relaxed, and he said he just didn't prepare anything. He was just reading off the screen, but he was just he had the audience in the palm of his hand. He really did do a good pitch. He just took us through it, explained the story, and I think the audience ultimately it did come down to it, because sometimes we know that the audience kind of decides because there's like 200 people in the audience, and there's like a collective vote. But it was kind of neck and neck going into that live pitch, so it really mattered how those pitches were on the day. And I think it can be quite daunting pitching, but like the crowd at Bolton was really supportive, and like there was a few technical issues at our end, which I think relaxed everybody who was pitching. But yeah, I think he absolutely smashed it, and he's one of the nicest guys, Jordan is, and his partner Casey as well produced the film, and Fully Focused were the lead production company on this. They've been amazing as well, and BBC picked it up, and I think that's how strong momentum can be in this industry, right? Momentum as an actor, momentum as a filmmaker. Jordan found some momentum, and and I feel like it's going to keep going, and we don't know where this is going to go, but I think big things for Rocket Fuel.
Yeah. So Jordan, this time last year, was literally sat there going, right, I've got an idea for a film, no idea how I'm going to make it, not got loads of experience, I'm going to put the script together, submit it, then gets longlisted, goes to Bolton Film Festival, does his pitch, gets chosen as the one, gets his 10k fund, makes it, all the support, creates a cracking piece of work. I'm going to play a little clip out, as I say, in a second. I'll play this literally the first 2 minutes, folks, just to show you the style of it. Very funny. Great kids in it, and then the BBC picked it up. So what's sort of happening for him now in terms of the trajectory of what he's working on now? I guess people are really interested in the next thing he's going to do, right?
Yeah, I think Jordan's been chipping away for years, and he usually works with actors that have never been in anything before. He finds that raw talent, and he did a film called Youthless, and his projects seem to really resonate with a lot of people, and I think he's going on to do really big things. And I think there's talk of a series of Rocket Fuel, which is really exciting. Yeah, so yeah, he deserves every success that he gets. He's just honestly one of the nicest guys, so talented, and his dialogue, I think that's what got me. There was they're like a married couple, these two. It's just so brilliant, and the dialogue is absolutely amazing. It really is.
So I love it. Well, we're gonna play a little bit out now, and then we'll do Q&A, folks. You got any questions on this at all? Anything you want clarification on? There'll be people. I know I can see questions coming through around pitching and stuff like that. So we will we'll spend plenty of time answering those before we finish. We've still got at least 25 minutes here, folks. Chris has got to go about 5 to, but I will make sure we answer everybody's questions if you've got them. I'm just going to turn this beautiful pop music off that we're playing, and I'm going to play. Yeah, this is the first 2 minutes of what is a 15-minute film. So it's this is just 2 minutes. It's not well into it. You see them discover the car that eventually becomes the the car that's the space rocket that they end up flying around. It's great. Look, check this out. Here we go.
You can pray to God, no one can save you from just being stuck here floating on this pale blue dot. It goes school, then work, make babies go great, and then you got no time to play. One day you'll be forgot. A lonely speck of dust suspect.
Do you think I want to be stuck in here babysitting you big div?
Babysitting me? You're a grown man on tag, bro. You're literally grounded.
You cheeky...
Oh, it's lovely and sunny out here. Fresh air and freedom. What more do you need, eh? Might go to the pub, get myself a cheeky pint. You come in? Yeah, that's what I thought. Get back, you Doylan.
Yeah, it's all right, because you've got to come home, you little shit.
Lonely speck of dust suspended in a sunbeam, living unaware of the unseen above me.
They don't have any front teeth. How do they eat? Don't stop your mum though, does it? Why couldn't you take me with her? She never takes me anywhere. It's an 18 to 30s. So, Mully, my mum's 47. Nobody stopped her, did they?
Lenny! Fancy a pud mush?
Let's just get out of here, man. What about knocking our run? We can't, bro. How many times do you want me to tell you? We're fugitives. Got to lay low for a while, haven't we? How do they even know it's us? Miss Riley filmed us on a doorbell camera. Put it on that grasses group on Facebook. You can't do all these days. Whoa! We need to make a wish. Must have fallen from the sky. Have you been eating your mum's morning after pills again? It's cardboard, bro. What is that? Now that is what I call one sweet ride. You know, this could be the answer to all of your problems. Why? Is it magic? Can it make you disappear, eh? What? Do you think that just because I have a boss man haircut means I don't have feelings? Besides, you don't know it's not magic. I mean, you've barely even given him a chance. Oh, so it's a he now, is it? Well, maybe it doesn't like to be gendered, like my Uncle Susie. Well, let's just cut to the chase. Gonna do what any normal kid would do in this situation. Let's just set it on fire.
If you want to see what the kids do with that sweet ride, get yourself a BBC iPlayer, search for Rocket Fuel, check it out. What was casting that like? Because the kids are brilliant. Like, because I guess they have all the support around that as well. It's not just the technicals of shooting the film, behind the scenes of like casting it. Do you help people get casting directors on board, or like finding the talent, or was that something that Jordan did himself?
There was a casting director attached, and there was just some tapes trickling in from these kids, and I just thought they were incredible. I think when we saw the girl, we were just like, oh my god, that is her. And I think it was about finding the right chemistry. But yeah, I think there was just a call out for local kids, and they've never done anything. They've now got agents, and they're doing interviews, and it's magic. I think they're really excited by the project. They were on BBC. They were doing an interview on BBC North not that long ago. So, it's so sweet, but they're just so brilliant, aren't they? Like the delivery of that dialogue, which is so adult in some ways.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You've been eating your mum's morning after pills again, man. There's stuff there that is absolutely great. So check that out. But ultimately, I'm a big believer in this fund. In terms of like, it doesn't just change the writer's life. Obviously, it's changed all those actors' lives. There's other people and crew and cast involved. And it's not just the money that you end up giving people to fund the thing. I think the most invaluable part of this is the mentorship, the connections, the introductions you will give people that will genuinely be career changing way beyond this project that you make. Sort of like it'll set people up. It's probably set Jordan up, for his entire career now moving forward based off the success of this. So let's answer some questions. Whatever questions you've got, we'll do 20 minutes of questions now, and we'll just make sure that everybody's happy. And whether this is, a good fit for you guys, you can go and submit your script in the next 11 days. If it's not, it's totally cool. But I just want to make sure as many people know about this as possible, because I know we've got lots of very talented actors/writers in the Act On This community who are constantly telling me, I'd love to do my own work, but like I don't know where to start. I need some help. And I think for the price, it's an absolute, if you're betting, ultimately you're betting on yourself, folks. If you're going to put a script into this, it's going to cost you 30 quid to put into the fund. It's like walking at the bookies and going, I'm going to bet 30 quid on myself to win. Like, if you're not prepared to kind of back yourself in this industry, you need to fix your mindset initially, I think, because a lot of actors are just against themselves. They go, there's no point because I won't win. Jordan might have thought that. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. Maybe he pushed through that. But someone has got to win it. And it's not a lottery. It's based on talent. So if you are good, back yourself in every single walk of life. Not just this, across the board in this industry. Because if you are not your biggest fan, no one else can want it more than you, ultimately. Don't sabotage your career as a creative by betting against yourself. So let's answer some questions. Here we go. Let's go back. So Kelly says, how important is it to have an idea of budget? Is it enough to know that it's minimal cast and locations?
I think that is one of the questions that we ask, like, what's the budget and how much have you raised? If you just put TBC or TBC, that's okay. But I don't think it's great when people say, like, budget 250,000, how much have you raised? 0. We're like, all right, that'll probably never get made. I'll be honest, that there is something in knowing that a film that we choose is more likely to get made. It doesn't scare us if there's, we're not looking for people to come on board and just say, oh, again, people do this because they think it's what we want to hear, but they say, how much is the budget? They say 11k. How much have you raised? 1. So I just need your fund.
Need all 10.
And we're like, well, we know that's not true. We know when we know how to, like, I can read a script and be like, okay, that's a 4-day shoot. It's, average of a quick formula, really. If you apply like between 7 to 10 grand, roughly, depends if there's big VFX or something like that, but roughly between 7 to 10 grand per shooting day. And I think you can probably do 3 to 5 pages a day. So, like, if you've got a 20-page script, you could probably do it in 4 or 5 days. It's rough. So you can do the maths. It's a bit of a formula, But yeah, I've seen that a lot. Like, people say 150 grand budget, haven't raised any so far. And if it's a really, really good script, that's not going to put us off. It just means that that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough to raise another 140 grand.
Because what would happen? Because there'll be people here who think, right, if I get the 10k, that's it. I'll only need 10k to make a film, or I'll only need 3k to make a film. And I see people doing that. People have made 5-6 minute shorts or whatever on 3k, and and they're really good. But what would you, if someone's completely new to this, mate, and they're like, right, I've got a 17-page script here. I know I can get the, if I enter it and I win, I get the 3k off you. If they need more, you'll help them with that? You'll mentor them around raising that, or do you want them to raise some stuff beforehand, or how would that all work?
Yeah, and just before I get onto that, I want to give a few examples just for inspiration of films that are, under this 10k budget. You absolutely can make a film for 10 grand. You can.
Yeah.
Roy, that was BAFTA longlisted.
Starring David Bradley, cracking film. Rachel was in it, yeah?
Yeah, that was made, I'm sure that was made for like 7 grand. Yellow, a film by Elham Assas, that was nominated for a BAFTA and it was shortlisted for an Oscar. He made that for 3 grand. Stutterer by Benjamin Cleary, he made that for 5 grand. The Silent Child, we made that for about £9,500. All right, full disclosure, all of those films pulled in massive favours, like The Silent Child, like, I owe everybody on that film for the rest of my life, and Elham didn't shoot that for 3 grand, and like everyone was paid APA rates. It's a lot of favours, and it's people coming together. So just want to point that out. But it can be done. It can be done. There's lots of examples every year that find themselves an amazing film that can be done within this budget.
So if you think your film can be done for 3k and you only need the 3k, apply for the 3k. That's like, you don't need to be shooting for something this is £500,000.
Yeah.
Di says, do I have to have a completed script to apply? I have the entire storyline but not a script yet, so you will need to write that script in the next 11 days, yeah?
Yes, that is true, Diane. You do need a full script. It could be a first draft, because that's part of our mentorship as well, script development. One of the first things we love to do is get a script and give notes and go back and forth for a little bit before you start approaching actors and your heads of departments. But yeah, try and get that first. I mean, it's great that you've written half the script already by doing the storyline. If you know the story, that's half the battle. But yeah, try and, if you can, if I was to plan your next 11 days, I would say write the rest of the outline, and try and just like vomit on a page and get that script out as a script. Put it in a drawer, print it off if you can, leave it in a drawer for like 2 days, then read it, and then do another version. Leave it in a drawer for another 2 or 3 days, do another version, and then apply with that one. You know, I'm sure you've got more things going on in your life than the Slick Films Fund, but if you don't, that would be my timeline for you, Diane.
There you go, Diane. Get it. I want to know what you're writing. Definitely. Diane's very proactive member of Act On This. She's on stuff all the time. So yeah, Diane, get it done. Jill says, do you recommend starting with a short film format versus a feature for a first filmmaker? This is incredibly exciting and phenomenal timing. Watch the lovely Rocket Fuel today. A real joy to watch.
Yes, I'm a huge advocate for short films because, oh my God, if I went straight to a feature, the amount of mistakes that I've made, the amount of errors that you make making short films, I've made hundreds. Like, you know, I haven't made a feature yet. And I've been filmmaking since I was 13 years old. If I could collectively put all of those mistakes into a bucket and take them to my feature film, I'm going to have a much better feature film. And the reason why I feel so strongly about this, and there are people out there that would be like, nope, just go straight for a feature. That's okay. They're not wrong. They're not right. I'm not wrong. I'm not right. But I feel like it's a different ball game. When you make your debut feature, that might be the only feature film you make if you don't kind of do a good job. It's not the place to make too many mistakes. You want to make something really strong that the market that can compete with Tarantino, because when you make a feature film, you are competing with Christopher Nolan, Scorsese, you know, Tarantino, all the greats. You know, you are. So I feel like my rule was always 3 shorts and a feature. I've done my 3 shorts now. I'm ready for a feature. But thank God I've gone through that process for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Jill, if you've not done your first short already, let's get that script submitted. Let's get things moving. LP Movies TV's official says, do you support animation as well?
Good question. If there's an incredible animation script, we would consider it. Same for documentary as well. But you know, full disclosure, we are known for live action. We have done more documentaries. We've never done an animation. But like, if it was the most amazing animation script, we would find a way to make it work. But I would say there might be some animation funds that your project is more suited to. There's an incredible local to me company called Carson Waterman that make animation. That's all they do. So I don't know. I would say yes, but it would have to be the most amazing standout script. It really would.
Yeah. We need the next Disney Pixar smash hit blockbuster,
kind of,
for the animation. But yeah, you know, it's always possible. Brendan says, how many? So I guess he's thinking of submitting stuff on top of the script. He's like, how many storyboards would a 20-page script warrant? If he was going to submit storyboards with it as well, or what other things could they submit with it that help you sort of like visualize it?
You know, honestly, you don't have to submit anything other than the script. That's fine. But storyboards, I don't think you need to do that until you're like a couple of months away from shooting. That's when you've got all your shot list down. You know, if you want a storyboard, I try and storyboard everything. I wouldn't do that on a feature, but on a short, my last short, In Too Deep, every single shot was storyboarded, and I had loads of storyboards, yeah. But I think at this stage, storyboards aren't helpful.
Yeah.
Not really. Storyboards aren't helpful because they are really for heads of departments and the producers right before you're going to shoot. What's more important is a pitch deck, some image references. So if you go on Google or I don't know, any image reference site, and then just put a PDF of just images. Like I love looking at pitch decks, and I flick through and I go, okay, yeah, I know, I see what's in their head. That helps me understand the script. But yeah, I would say that it's not necessary to do storyboards at this stage. That's something you do, you know, when you're closer to shooting, fully funded, everyone's in place, ready to go.
Nice. So you're all good for that, Brendan. Don't need to worry about that, mate. Focus on the script. Next question says, I understand that the script must be in English in order to be evaluated, but does the film ultimately have to be made in English as well?
No, and here's a little secret. I have an absolute soft spot for foreign language films.
Right.
I'm also a judge in another competition, which is a great script competition called Outstanding Screenplays. And one of the nominees, which I wanted to win, was a Mexican film in Spanish. It was just converted, but some of the dialogue lines were in Spanish, and like it was done on purpose so the reader didn't, if they spoke English, they didn't understand it, and it was just so well done. I'm a massive. I just love foreign language films. That's my guilty pleasure. So I would love to see more people submit films not in the English language. Yes, please.
Yeah. Get your films in, foreign language films. You've heard it here first. Absolutely. Next up, what do we got? Nick Dutton. Nick's a great guy. He says, I know some painfully introverted, incredible writers. Can others pitch on their behalf if they're terrified, if they get to the pitch stage?
What a great idea. Yeah, I think so. As long as they're present and that's explained. Yeah, what an amazing question. I've not even thought of that. Like I mean, I better speak to the team, but yeah, I mean, I'm the CEO. I can grant that.
Exactly. You're the boss.
Yeah, I think that's such a. That would be. I would love to see that. I would love to see like the writer sat in the audience and someone like Nick say, "Look, the writer's very introverted. He doesn't want to pitch. I'm pitching on his behalf." What a cool idea that is.
There you go, Nick. You can be everybody's go-to pitcher, mate. Jess, I think, said she was 17 before. He said, what's the youngest age you can apply?
Good question. I don't think there is. Don't think we have an age limit.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd encourage people to write as early as they possibly can. I imagine, to pitch and to be at a film festival, you'd probably need a chaperone. A little bit like, probably the same rules would apply around... if you got a TV or film job, you'd have to be escorted by a chaperone. Yeah,
anyone under 16, is going to need the parent or guardian there. But over that, you're classed as an adult, aren't you? Really, I guess.
Yeah. But that's cool. I'd love to see more young people submit. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Bobby says, are there any genres that are favoured over others? Got any? Or have you got any soft spots? This is inside info that might appeal to you as a judge.
I think we are wanting to try a little bit, branch out a little bit more. I mean, we always have a soft spot for those dramas with the social cause. We always do. But look at this year's winner. Comedy, sci-fi. That's not not the typical thing that we'd usually go for. I read the most amazing script called Mina Finds Her Edge. It won Holly Short's script competition. It won Outstanding Screenplays, and it was a horror comedy, and it was one of the best short film scripts I've ever read. And I wouldn't say I'm a massive horror fan. I love films like Get Out. Yeah, I mean, that's the only one I can list. I love films like Get Out. But no, I'm not. I wouldn't go to the cinemas and see like the kind of slasher horrors, but like good thrillers. Like we are open to everything. We're trying to expand into other genres a little bit more. But yeah, so take this year's winner, comedy sci-fi.
Yeah, comedy sci-fi led by a cast of kids. Very different to stuff you've produced before. So these guys are open to anything if it's good, Bobby. Andrew says, if I enter as a writer and actor, will you guys attach a director and producer, and can I write a role for myself?
Yeah, I think as the writer, it would be about attaching a director and a producer that believe in that decision. But ultimately, until you're the boss of the project, Andrew. If you're the writer, you'd be very much involved in who that director and producer are. So we'd want to support that. So I think that, especially if you're an actor and you're doing this to give yourself a role, that's the whole purpose, right? You don't want someone to come along and be like, right, you can't do that. So it's about finding a director and a producer that believe in that, and that's quite common, by the way. Scripts will be attached, or they'll just be like, I'd like to play that, and it usually ends up happening. But I think if the writer is adamant, and that's the whole purpose of doing this, then we would absolutely support that. Yeah.
There you go. Write yourself a leading role, Andrew. Get it in the next 11 days, mate. Rob says, hang on. Where's Rob's comment? There we go. So do you look for the potential in scripted ideas in only the first draft? So if he submits a first draft, I think he's saying there, or would you be focusing more on how well the script is already telling the story? So is it like if someone submits a great first draft, but you see lots of potential in it, you're happy for them to come and pitch further, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. I think if you can also opt for a script report as well. That's quite a good thing that we've added that on this year. So if
what's that?
If you've never written anything before, it'll just have one of our professional readers give some professional feedback on your script so you can kind of improve. And a lot of people who pitched last year want to come back and said, look, I've really gone away and I've done a bit of work on it. But yes, we definitely we're always looking for something original. We do look for the potential. The competition is high. There are people with really good ideas and a really polished draft. So take that as you will. You know, we do pick the best. We have amazing readers, and they just judge on what they see. But they also flag a lot. They'll on Film Freeway, the judging end. There's loads of different coloured flags. So we might get a colour flag say, look, it's not the most polished draft, but this has huge potential because I've never seen anything like this before. So when it's flagged for originality like that, we take that seriously, and then we compare that with the others. Is there anything else that, where does it stack up in the list of submissions? But yes, ultimately, we definitely do look for the potential in the script. It's not just about the best polished draft,
Nice. Andrea's got a couple of directors already wanting to, make her film. Should she attach one of those first during the submission?
I think it helps. It's quite nice. We don't mind. We have plenty of submissions where it's just the writer only, and then we will help that. We will, be part of that process to attach the director, the producer, the lead producer. But yeah, I think also a lot of submissions say this is the director. I think we even ask you that on the submission form. We say like, have you got a director attached? Have you got a producer attached? So that would be a good thing if you've got someone passionate. I think that's a good thing. Yeah.
Nice one, Andrea. Good. So Paul, yeah, just to confirm. So he said you mentioned 20 pages of script. So it is just for short films. It was up to 25 though, wasn't it? Up to 25 pages, yeah. Because he's put there in terms of budget. If we plan to pull many favours, and a feature could be done for 20k. It's not for features, yeah. It's just for under 25 pages. Chris, is that right?
It isn't for features. It is just for shorts. And you're right. A feature could be done for 20k. I think Jordan Scott Kennedy did his feature for 10k. It's how. I mean, this is you could do a whole nother web chat on this exact thing. I think it might seem ridiculous when you hear how much budgets are for feature films, but there are reasons for it. I always thought, we could just make a film for like 500k or whatever, but it's actually, what I've found is when you're writing a feature script, have we got time for this?
Yeah, cool. I've got as much time as you want. I just know you've got a meeting at 3, so yeah.
Well, I think it's an important question to answer, but maybe I'm going off on a bit of a tangent, so it may or may not be helpful. But I feel like just working on our debut feature at the moment, I've learned so much about why budgets do need to be as high as they are, and I've heard time and time again, dramas under 1.5 million don't do very well. I'm like, well, but there's this film, this is England, there's this, that did well, and it's like they're the one in a million. So the main reason that I can see from developing a feature for the last 3 or 4 years is you need a feature film to attract a big cast member. And like, would you believe it if I said it, like actors like Robert Carlyle and Peter Mullen aren't good enough aren't big enough for sales
bankable
agents,
enough,
mad, isn't it?
Yeah, wild.
Two of the best British actors,
brilliant.
They just wouldn't, like, the market's on its knees at the moment, and no one's taking a risk. So they need someone like Florence Pugh to be the lead in the film in order for them to, okay, we'll take that and we'll take it to market. So if you go with the best script in the world and say, I've got 20 grand to pay Florence Pugh, because you need Florence Pugh in order to get your film made.
Yep.
Then Florence Pugh's probably going to say no, because she's like, right,
Unless she
20,
really loved
20K.
it, but yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
don't know. I think she's past that. Those actors.
Well, for
that,
a feature, yeah, because the amount of time that'd
Yeah.
be involved in it. Yeah, yeah.
That's just my opinion. But these actors, that can you imagine the amount of offers daily that they get?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
like they will be getting offers of like, okay, we'll offer you, like, you know, Jennifer Lawrence did this, you know, very average rom-com. She got $20 million for that
Wild,
film.
isn't it?
20 million. So we're talking about 20K. I think it just wouldn't get to the actor. They'll see 20K. Ah, it's fully funded. It's 20K. It wouldn't get there. So I don't know. Sorry, a bit of a tangent, but I think it's important to address that. Like try and think about increasing your budgets, because actually it's easier to raise more money than it is less. It's a weird thing to say, but it's true.
Yeah. And Paul, if you are really good friends with Florence Pugh, and you can pull her in, yeah.
Even then, friends, like, yeah, it's just tough.
It's if you can convince her to do it for free, definitely submit your feature film scripts. Maybe it'll work. Amazing. Right, let's see if there's anything else, and then we'll just. I know you've got to go, so I'll wrap this up because I just want to just reiterate like how
I'm
people
all right
can.
for a few minutes. I can. I've got 5 minutes. I can.
Okay.
I can hop across. Yeah.
Wicked.
If there's more questions.
Right, let's have a look. That's just someone saying that they made a 40-minute film on a 3 to 4K of mainly favours. This question
Believe
there says, "Hi guys, I'm from India. I've got a pitch for a crime thriller, but I'm unsure how to write it. Can you give me any suggestions how to write for a film?" Where would people start? If maybe they go, you know what, 11 days isn't enough time to do it this time, but I do want to enter next year, or I just want to start writing. What would your advice be for like genuinely first-time writers who are just really scared, Chris?
Well, I think 11 days is enough time, but like it depends how busy. Have you got kids? Have you got a job? Like, you know, how much time? You haven't got 11 days, have you? If you really take out all that other stuff, but I think you could set yourself the challenge to write a script that you could submit in 48 hours, I believe. You know, that might be over a few days. So I feel like how you start is you start with a blank page, and you get some index cards. You can either do that digitally or you know, physically. And I think you need to know in your head. You need to know ideally what the end is. You need to know your story, and then I would write down the story in scenes. And you probably need about, you know, 25 to 35 cards, depending on the length of your. I'd say 35 is probably too much, really. I would say you need like 20 to 25 cards, and then you write down each one of those is a scene.
Yeah.
And then you need to kind of like do this. This is outlining. You'll do that, and then you'll switch them around and play around with them. And then once you're happy with that structure, that's when you start to write. Don't write and type before you've done that bit. The difference is huge. So get the organisation. But like, yeah, I would say, you know, 20 cards, get them down, and maybe that is even too much. It depends on what your story needs. Like, yeah, 15 to 25 cards, I would say.
I love it, and I love these comments as well. Andrea says, "Just want to say a huge thank you. You've inspired me for the weekend. I will submit." Di says,
Yes.
"I have Celtex open right now. Script starting in 3, 2, 1." I love it.
And
It's why I
Diane's
call
done
Act
her
On This.
outline already, hasn't she?
Yeah, Diane's already got that. She's already done the scenes and stuff, so
Brilliant.
she knows what she's doing.
Go for
Andrea's
it,
great
Diane.
as well, though. Anyone here, honestly, like, the whole like point of me setting up this community, that, you know, and if you've just seen Act On This for the first time, if you do go over to actonthis.tv, we don't just do YouTube. You know, every single week I sit down with one of the biggest casting directors, agents, actors, writers, directors, producers, like one of the biggest in the world, like, you know, huge names, and we have really honest, open chats about what it takes for you to start taking more action in your career and just starting like pushing yourself to bet on yourself more, to take more risks, to go, hang on a minute, I've only got one shot at this life. I might as well at least go for it, rather than getting to 92 and thinking, what could I have done with my life if I had have just backed myself? So do come over, check out actonthis.tv. But I love seeing stuff like this, Di, where you're just like, I'm just doing it. No excuses. Let's suffocate excuses.
Yeah.
We're going into the weekend. It's Friday. It's a beautiful day. Get in your garden, open your laptop, sit in some sunshine. If you're in Manchester, it's a beautiful day. And just start playing around with that scene structure. Get your 20 scenes together, page a scene or whatever. Write your 20-page scripts over the next 11 days. Get it submitted. You never know where you could be this time next year. And so, just to for people who might have joined late, and just to reiterate where people can submit, Chris. I'm just going to bring the website up again. But ultimately, if you search for Slick Films Fund 2025, you will find, if I just go back a bit, you'll find this page here. You can read a little bit about the fund. You can click on this big green button that says Film Freeway. That will take you over to Film Freeway, where you can choose to submit, basically. You can submit for the 10K fund, the 3K fund. It will give you all of the criteria in here of what you've got to submit. And you've got until June the 24th. That is 11 days from now. Any sort of other kind of like insider tips, Chris, just to sort of inspire people to, to go get stuff done, or like any pitfalls you've seen like last year's people fall into, or anything that's going to help people stand out?
I think that just well, actually, there's an amazing blog on our website by an anonymous reader who gives his tips, and I think anyone who hasn't written the script yet or is about to apply, I would read that. I don't know how I can link that. Maybe I can find it to you after and send it to you, Ross. But basically, one of the main things they talk about, and I completely agree, is try and make it realistic. Really, we're not going to be able to help you make a £500,000 short. We're just not. So try and write a modest short film, something that don't. When we ask the budget question, and it doesn't matter if you haven't raised any money yet, but like if we do see budgets that are kind of over the 60 grand mark, we are going to think, bloody hell, that's tough, because we'll have loads of amazing scripts where it's like, 25 grand, and we're like, okay, that's achievable. We can help you there. 30 grand, 35 grand, it's achievable. When it's like 65, 70, 80, 90, 200 grand, it's like, is this film ever going to get made? It's tough. So I would be modest in how you're writing. And they always say, writers should just write freely, write whatever you want. And yes, that's right to a certain point. But I think you might sometimes become stuck. You want to write something that's going to get made. So just do be aware of budget, I think. Yeah.
So locations, don't have everything blowing up and $1 million VFX and all that sort of stuff. Green screen, Spider-Man.
Jumping out of a plane. Yeah.
None of that. Tom Cruise on a motorbike on the top of the mountains.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I'm excited, Chris, to see what people submit. I know people from our community submitted last year. Some people did get long-listed last year as well. They were first-time writers, never done anything before. So it is possible, folks, and that's inspired them to go on this year and and do more and produce their own work as well. And you could be on with us this time next year going, wow, you watched that broadcast last year, and now you're the equivalent of what Rocket Fuel's done. The BBC have picked it up, and now you're going to potentially do a series of your idea. I would love nothing more than that. So I hope this inspired people. Thanks ever so much for watching, Chris. I know you've you've got to go and do another meeting now. So all you can dash. I'll wrap it up, Chris.
All right.
But thanks for being here, mate. Really appreciate it.
Everyone.
Take care, buddy.
Bye.
Bye for now. Bye. Folks, I'm just a big advocate of people taking action. Please, if you have had an idea knocking around your head for the last 5 years and you've just been afraid, it's been fear that's stopping you from actually putting that idea down onto paper and and submitting it somewhere. This is a chance to sort of not have to do it all on your own. It's what I love about this is there's Chris, he's an Oscar winner. His team have been nominated for multiple Oscars, shortlisted for multiple Oscars now, films that they've made. They've got an incredible amount of experience and just a lot of support to give. It's not just that they're going to give you a little bit of money and just go, there you go, see you later, go and crack on. You're going to be sort of on their team then, in the inner circle. So if you have got an idea, let's act on this. Let's take some action and keep us posted. And if you're watching on the replay as well, drop a comment as well. I'll always reply to comments on the replay. As mentioned, that's on this.tv before, which is the main site that I run. It's all about helping you land more roles on TV, basically. If you're an actor, you want to actually start earning money from your career rather than, just struggling, not having any direction, spinning your wheels every week. Every single week we sit down, I do a private Zoom call, basically, for members, exclusively for members of the site, where we bring on a top casting director, agent, actor, writer, director, producer. If you go to actonthis.tv, click on the little preview section, you'll see all of our latest guests. Had some incredible guests. I'm going to play a trailer out for the guest that we had on last week, who was Hollyoaks director and their resident on-set acting coach, David Crowley. If you are an actor and you've never done Hollyoaks, you've never done serial drama, you're looking for your first TV job, serial dramas like Hollyoaks, Corrie, Emmerdale, those kind of shows are where a lot of actors start out with the smaller day player type roles. David talked us through an award-winning script. Hollyoaks has just cleaned up at the British Soap Awards. They won Best Family, they won Best Storyline, and they won something else that I can't remember. But they did really well at the British Soap Awards, and the Best Storyline was an incredible storyline around an abuse storyline that we dived into on this session. David broke the script down, and we got people on camera to act this out using strategies that David was teaching. If you want to learn how to prep for your audition and get it right, this is a great session to watch. So I'm going to play the trailer out for that, for what you missed. The full replay of that is in the members area. If you've got a membership, it'll cost you the price of a latte a week, basically, and you'll get to get instant access to the archive. I'll just turn the music off. I'll take that off the screen as well, so you can see all this. And yeah, I'm just going to play the trailer right here, but like I say, I'll show you a little bit about what we do. And then you can come and join us. If you do get a membership, you can come and join us live on these sessions every single week. So have an amazing weekend, whatever you're doing. It's a beautiful Friday here in Manchester. Enjoy yourself. I'll play this out now, and I'll catch up with you on another live stream soon. If you watch on YouTube as well, subscribe so you get notified every time we go live. Until next time, love to you all. Bye for now. Back for the third session in a trilogy of audition prep workshops. It's Hollyoaks director and their resident on-set acting coach, Mr. David Crowley. David, welcome back, mate. How are you?
Always great to be back on your lovely community.
So tonight, we are going to complete our trilogy of audition prep workshops. We're going to work on an award-winning Hollyoaks script, teach you a super effective hack to connect emotionally with any script in minutes, and we're going to bring some actors on camera to try it out. The script we're going to look at, folks, is from Frankie's award-winning storyline.
It's been a brilliantly acted and very, very difficult and hard-hitting storyline about two twins who the JJ has been abusing his sister.
He said no one would believe me. He threatened me a few times, and how do you say, how do you admit to do something like that?
Well done. Great cold read there.
So let's look at some things then that might help us prep this scene for an audition. So there's some key questions to ask David. And the first one you've sent me through there is simply, what do I want?
You'll find that when you make it nice and simple, it becomes really playable then, because you go, to be believed. I can play that.
Why now?
This one is my favourite because it gives you immediacy, urgency, and a purpose for doing it right now.
Substitution. This is David's go-to hack for emotional connection authentically to a script.
This technique allows you to generate a truthful, spontaneous emotion without just pretending.
Shall we watch the actual scene then, folks?
How do you admit to taking part, being made to take part in something so disgusting?
Preparation will help you get the job. If you want the job, prep, prep, prep.